And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another season, and the finale here of the 2025 GSL Season 1 playoffs. Here we go. We just wrapped up with the group stage earlier this morning. For the past 2 weeks, we have been wrapping up Group Stage 1 into Group Stage 2, but now we are here with the semifinals and the grand finals. The final day of Season 1 of GSL. I'm of course VIP. With me, I'm joined by these logos, by the GSL, by the chains, Papi. I'm all chained up. I'm ready and raring to go for some GSL. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. For those that are curious, this is a replay cast, of course. It's a replay cast. The events of this tournament, of these matches, did occur last week. So they're, I would say, actually less than a week old. Like 5 days old. Less than a week old at this point. But this season's GSL has been very short. 2 weeks. It sounds crazy. You could argue 3 weeks because we did cast the qualifiers. So qualifiers, then Group Stage 1, then Group Stage 2, and the semis and finals were all in the same week. So 2 weeks were televised on the main GSL channel. We of course did cover the qualifiers on top of that as well. So I guess 3 weeks of content, 2 weeks of content, very condensed, very compacted matches here, back to back to back. There's definitely criticism to levy when it comes to GSL, when it comes to the new condensed format, but a big reason for that is because you have to squeeze in as much as possible, because Dallas is in a couple of days. Dallas is in 2 days time, so we had to wrap up GSL before coming into DreamHack Dallas. We also had to do the qualifiers. Fun fact, Season 2 qualifiers already concluded 2 days ago or 3 days ago. It's been a couple of days. We are going to be going over the qualifiers tomorrow in regards to the Season 2 qualifiers, and we also have Stars Agora around the corner. We have EWC. For those that don't know, speaking of compact schedule, DreamHack Dallas is a 3-day event. It ends on Monday, and on Wednesday is the EWC qualifier. So we have qualifiers 2 days after DreamHack Dallas. It's crazy. So players have 2 days to get back home after Dallas before bam, going and competing and playing in the qualifiers for EWC. So there's a lot going on, Of course, we'll do our best to also broadcast all of things I just mentioned, but first things first, we're here for Season 1 of GSL. We're here for the finals, Papi. Let's go as we switch things over and catch up on the brackets. As we catch up on our top 4. So top 4 players, these are the top 4 that made it through the group stage. We have herO, GuMiho, Classic, and Cure. We have a plethora of PvTs ahead of us here, and these are best of 5s. Best of 5s leading into a best of 7 grand finals thereafter, back to back to back. 3 matches here for you tonight. We're going to wrap up the first 2, then go on a break, and then jump into the grand finals thereafter. When it comes to these PvTs, I mean, herO's been looking very in form, very much so on fire, looking like the best player in the world. In saying that though, GuMiho is a terrifying opponent in this matchup. We saw that previously, as of course this morning we did cover GuMiho versus Classic and GuMiho versus Maru, also playing Protoss, by the way. Likewise, Cure, he is also one of the best TVP players out there. Going to be an interesting series against Classic, bearing in mind that Classic did defeat GuMiho earlier in the group stage, so we'll see how he compares to Cure as well. I'm also really excited to see more of Cure. For those that missed out, Cure during the group stage, he was actually very aggressive. He was hyper aggressive. A lot of two-base play in his TVPs. I'm curious if that trend continues, if he does decide to embrace some longer and later macro games instead against Classic. Yet to be determined. We'll find out. We'll find out how our players, how their tendencies have changed over the past couple of days, and whether that's going to play into this finals. Let's go. First semifinals match. We have herO versus GuMiho coming in first. Game 1 is going to be on Maganatha. Ooh, interesting. When it comes to the veto process, game 1 is going to be the largest map in the map pool. You don't get larger than Maganatha. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Maganatha, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, representing his new team, representing Seoul Esports. It is GuMiho. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player representing Twisted Minds. It is herO. Here we go, and we are settling into our initial best of 5. Again, we did cover the group stage earlier this morning, around 8 hours ago. We were live. This is our second broadcast of the day. As always, as typically here on the CranKy Ducklings, we do cast twice a day, every single day. Again, plenty of StarCraft, plenty of content on the channel as always. Now we're here to jump into our TVP. Coming into Maganatha, because the map is so large, I would imagine we're going to de-incentivize aggressive play. It's going to be interesting though, because GuMiho was hyper aggressive in his matches as well. Like typically a lot of the TVPs from the Korean side of things have been two-base play, a lot of two-base play, a lot of double gas openers. I say that this time single gas opener out of GuMiho going for a Rax expand economic opener out of our Terran player. But this does make sense. As we mentioned, this is the largest map in the map pool, longest rush distance by ground, a lot of bases as well, and this map typically does favor longer and later games. So GuMiho is not opening up aggressively, he's going to calm things down and building up towards a faster CC. Meanwhile, herO does scout, herO does confirm, he is aware the single gas was taken, and he's being as annoying as possible, delaying the CC, does force a second SCV down to low ground, so he's forcing some efficiencies or some inefficiencies out of GuMiho before the expansion. Again, just being as annoying as possible. Behind this standard opener out of herO, as I believe that was a Cyber Core before Nexus. So Gate, Cyber, expand out of herO, standard opener out of our Protoss player. Again, economic starts out of GuMiho. So now we can settle in, and now we can embrace the map itself. Welcome to Maganatha. Maganatha, largest map in the map pool. There are a lot of rocks as well. There are a lot of choke points, bear that in mind. On the one hand, there are a lot of avenues to rotate and to try to strike some of these bases. That is true. There's areas in between the bases, there's areas outside of the natural as well. But because of all these towers, because of all these choke points, because of these little avenues and alleyways, it is quite difficult to actually break through these defensive lines here. You can fully wall up, and we'll see if GuMiho does take a slower approach here. Likewise, GuMiho, he typically thrives in more aggressive maps, especially with his builds. Like, he has so many builds up his sleeve. He's also very fond of going into mech as well. We did actually cover GuMiho mech the hell out of Raynor earlier this morning, so he is willing to do so against Protoss. Likewise, not just Zerg. We didn't actually see that against Classic, but in a longer series, we probably will see that at one point here against herO, I would imagine. Meanwhile, do have our Twilight Council opener, tech of choice here for herO. I was about to say that when it comes to the Protoss side of things, we have 3 different tech options typically in TVP. It is going to be either Twilight Council, Robo, or Stargate, and on these larger maps, Stargate play is viable. It is a little bit more viable here, but herO playing it safe, going for a standard opener, Twilight Council into Blink. We'll see how many gateways he throws down. 2 gate Blink, 3 gate Blink, or 4 gate Blink. Stalker has a safety shield battery at the natural, so he's playing things out safe. And do you see what I see? Second Rax. That is a second Rax before Starport. Hallucination does confirm. So here he is aware, and this is much more aggressive. Now, this could be the beginning of a 2-1-1. So 2 Raxes, 1 factory into 1 Starport into a stim timing drop play from the Terran. Or we could see a 3rd Rax, and we could turn this into a 2-base all-in. If we see a 3rd Rax before the Starport, then we're going to be rushing into Stim, into Combat Shields. But we have confirmation, 2-1-1, Starport, not a 3rd Rax. Now, if you're looking at this build, you might be familiar, you might be thinking, hold up, isn't this exclusively a TVZ build? Not exclusively, but it's more common against Zerg. Much more common against Zerg players. It is a rare sight, but not unseen against Terran and Protoss. Now, there's a bit of a give and take here. On the one hand, it can be quite powerful. Basically, it's a stim timing. Really early stim compared to standard TVP games. A lot of bio into a medevac drop, into a double medevac drop with 16 Marines. And this can hit quite hard. The downside is that because your factory is exclusively making add-ons, because the factory made the tech lab and the factory is making the reactor, it means that your factory production is very delayed. It means specifically your tank production is delayed this game. So if this stim timing doesn't do anything, you are so vulnerable to a counterattack. Like herO, he can just double down. If he shuts down this real hard and real quick, he can just counterattack, and he can punish the Terran player as well. So there's a lot riding on this double drop, and so far herO has seen everything. I don't know if you noticed, he sent another hallucination. Like, he's been scouting non-stop. He's fully aware of the build. He knows what's coming his way, and right now the goal for herO is to catch the drop. He knows that medevacs are coming, the goal to intercept. Meanwhile, GuMiho does have the Xel'Naga tower on the right hand side. herO, he has control of the Xel'Naga tower towards the left. Cyclone is to get the hell out of there. herO, he has control, he spots the Cyclone, and GuMiho is gonna have to thread the needle here when it comes to this drop. As here come the 2 medevacs. Tank production has now begun. Do see GuMiho skirting towards the left-hand side. The Stalkers are out of position. The Cyclone does go down, but GuMiho boosts in. Yeah, it does go for the boost. It does go for the dive. Back at home, there are 3 Zealots to defend. Stalkers out of position. And here he misses this drop. He does not spot this. Not yet. You can see here is racing back. I mean, again, he knows that the drop is coming. We have Storm on the way behind this, not Colossus. It was a Storm before 3rd base, a really safe play to herO. He delays his 3rd. And here he finds a drop. Oh, does find it. Does pull away. Charge is not done. He's also just tanking shots. And GuMiho, can he break through? He gets a Stalker, he gets one. He almost gets two. But the shield battery runs out of energy, and now the Marines, they are stimming, and they are winning. The Storm is still not yet done. 10 seconds away. He needs 10 seconds. 6, 5. Bleeding out 6 probes. Probes are going down. Storm is now done. And I believe here he should be able to defend. Whew, he does clean this up, but this wasn't bad damage. Takes down a medevac. Cleans up all the Marines, but again, that was like very strong timing here. 6 probe kills, took down a bunch of Zealots, took down a bunch of Stalkers, and GuMiho, he has to calm down a little bit. He was rallying across the map. He does get spotted. He is spotted, has to pull away. Bearing in mind that here didn't even use a Storm. Oh, but GuMiho does punish. Not bad. Gets a Stalker. Another Stalker goes down. That's been how many? That's been 4 Stalker kills. Not bad. And GuMiho pulls away. And I would say that so far this double drop did do well enough, right? It was able to kill a bunch of workers, was able to shut down a bunch of Stalkers as well. The scary thing in my mind though is Storm, is the counterattack here from herO. He has plenty of High Templar, plenty of energy for Storm. His third base is getting up and running. Meanwhile, GuMiho getting his own third as well on location. It is building up. And he's not being punished, right? He has successfully gotten out of his 2-on-1 into his tank production. Now he's being active with his drops. He's gaining map control, hunting down those prisms. As GuMiho makes his way to the main. Again, here he barely does miss that medevac. Here behind this, working towards Colossus. The bay is on the way. Third base getting saturated. Remember, this third base is late. Remember, herO, he stayed on 2 bases to get into Storm, but Storm finished too late to be a part of that defense, so it wasn't worth it. The early Storm didn't really lead to anything. So herO, economically, I would say he's behind. He's actually behind that of GuMiho. GuMiho with full 3-base saturation. The Protoss typically needs to be up a base to keep up with the Terran, so we need a 4th desperately, and this 4th base is late for herO, as he's still taking up. So the 3rd base is late, the 4th base is late. GuMiho looking to get further ahead. The prison does get into the main, okay. Does sip in with his Zealots. Gets a couple of workers, distracts GuMiho. Vikings on the way to deal with this. GuMiho working towards Widow Mines, Marauders, Viking production. Likewise getting into a longer later game. GuMiho does take a supply lead. And I do favor GuMiho's position overall, especially his economic position. But when it comes to the main armies, I mean, the Storm is always an X factor here. How many High Templar? 6. Jesus, 6 High Templar, each with at least 1 Storm. That's a lot of Storm. And here comes herO. Can he break this position? We spoke about those choke points earlier, and herO is going to try to go through. He's pushing into 2 tanks. But the Bio army is out of position. The tanks are exposed. Here's Storm on the right-hand side. First tank goes down. There's 1 tank left. Still plenty of Storms. Storms a mainly zone. Storm in the mineral line. The prism is up. Not going to go down. And herO, he breaks through. He breaks through. The warp in does complete. Another tank falls. There's 1 tank left. Running out of Storms, but the 3rd base is broken. And that's going to be 20 SCV kills. And I was concerned that herO was going to be too passive, that GuMiho was just going to get out of control, but he was out of position. 3rd base gets broken. Another Storm. And herO, he's done it. He's done it. He breaks through the defensive line. The 3rd base is forfeit. And herO, he has plenty to keep pushing. He just keep on going. Goes for another warp in. herO, he's running out of Storms. He maybe has 1 Storm left, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Not anymore. He pushes through the main army. Another Storm here on the Marauders. And there's nothing left. There's nothing left. There's nothing here. GG gets called, and herO takes game number 1. Whew. GG. herO does take a lead in the series. I was concerned that he had kind of missed his window to make use of those High Templar. We spoke about it. herO, he rushed into Storm, rushed into High Templar. Didn't make use of it. He wasn't able to make use of it. Likewise, he was working towards a 4th base, building up towards Colossus. herO, by no means was he all in, by the way. Like, we had Colossus on the way behind it. Like, he was getting a 4th base. herO, he was building up, but GuMiho was out of position, partially because of the drop. If you remember the prism in the main base, it did distract GuMiho, so he had a bunch of supply in the main, and that 3rd base was actually quite exposed, in the sense that he had tanks, he had SimCity, but he had no bunkers there, and again, most of his army wasn't there at the 3rd. Those tanks going down, or being the first thing to be targeted, was key there for herO to break that position. GG. GG, well played. herO does take the first game, but already some really spicy play. I mean, out of both players. Remember, herO rushing into early storm, GuMiho going for a 2-on-1. Now, I don't expect to see another 2-on-1 out of GuMiho. As I mentioned before, like, this is a bit of a rarer build in this matchup in TVP. Has its own power spike and has its own power, but a lot of it is also like the surprise factor as well. I feel like we should be seeing something different out of GuMiho coming into the rest of the series. But we'll see. We shall see as we get into our next game. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Pylon, we have our red Terran player, our red Terran down in the series, but looking to bounce back, representing Seoul Esports. It is a GuMiho. The pants are down, and spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing his team Twisted Minds. It is a herO. We go. Okay. So again, overall, herO's play last game was interesting. I still stand by the fact that he was behind economically last game. Like, he didn't really have the best setup going into a longer game state, but instead he did hyperfixate on just building up his forces and preserving those storms. Again, he had 6 High Templar with that push, and we saw just how little GuMiho had, specifically at his third base. He had so little to protect his tanks, to protect his mineral line. Everything did end real fast and real quick, but now we are getting into game 2, and welcome to Pylon. Now, coming into Pylon, double gas. Makes sense. Pylon is one of the more aggressive maps in the map pool. Pylon has a shorter rush distance by ground, has a lot of bases, and is very wide. That is true. Like, there are a lot of bases towards the left and right hand side, but the attack path from your natural base to your opponent's third base is very short and very direct. We've seen a lot of all-ins on Pylons. We've seen a lot of boys being pulled, a lot of timing attacks. That has been very trendy on Pylon, so for GuMiho to switch things up and go double gas makes plenty of sense on this map. What does double gas mean? Double gas means a faster factory, a delayed CC. With a faster factory, this can also lead into Banshee play with a faster starport, into an add-on swap into Banshee. This can lead into double Cyclone. This can lead into an early tank drop. This can lead into Reactor Reaper Hellion. There's a lot of different avenues of attack here, but aggression is on the horizon for GuMiho, and we'll see if herO can keep up and recognize what's going on. We see GuMiho playing safe. Remember, GuMiho, he does skip the SCV scout and he skips the Reaper scout as well. So he's just checking with his Marine, checking the proxy locations. Just wants to make sure that he doesn't get cheesed out. Ooh, meanwhile, so Reactor first into Factory into Tech Lab straight away. There's no early Hellion, there's no early setup here, early mines, just straight for the Tech Lab. And this should be for an early Cyclone. We could just skip the Cyclone and go straight for the tank. But this is one step further. If you remember, I spoke about how double gas can lead into, say, early tank, early Cyclone, Banshee play, but this is all predicated on a CC after the Factory. Do you see what I see? There's nothing. This is a one base all in. So we're just doubling down, and one base all in out of GuMiho. I mean, aggression is favored on Pylon, but we just double down on the aggression, going for the all in. Medevac is on the way, and we may even just pull the boys with this as well, as GuMiho is not expanding. Meanwhile, herO just now scouting. Hallucinations moving in, and what does herO see? He sees no command center on the low ground. There could be a CC on the high ground. A Cyclone comes in to intercept, and he confirms the 1-1-1. He confirms there is no CC. What do we need? Shield batteries. There's one shield battery so far. Charge, amazing response here. Typically, Blink is research. Blink is standard. Charge does not scale too well as an earlier upgrade because it doesn't allow you to shut down drop play, but Charge is amazing to shut down all-ins. Just because Zealots are just that much more efficient, they can collapse on top of those tanks, on top of those Cyclones. Speaking of, first Cyclone has arrived. We have more shield batteries on the way. herO throws down extra gateways. He does not expand. And again, he needs that charge. It's still halfway done. A drop into the main. Uh-oh. Behind this, we're going to be reinforcing with Liberators, reinforcing with tanks. Drop does unload. That is Nartosis Pylon. For now, going for the mineral line, going for the Stalkers. Yeah, first Stalker under fire. Medevac gets forced back. The boys are being pulled. And here he will hold. Yeah, so far he's holding on. Cyclone takes down a free shield battery. Tank is moving out. Liberator as well. And charge completes. Yeah, charge is going to finish. And with the completion of charge, herO, he can shut this down. All he needs is a handful of Zealots. All he needs are a handful of Zealots here. More shit, Jesus. More shield batteries on the way. herO taking this very seriously. And there we go. The boys are being pulled. And how do you deal with them? Oh, with Zealots. The Zealots are going to be ready. They're going to be ready for this. We're bringing 4 at a time. herO, he does shoot first. Oh! We'll go on the Stalker. Yeah, charge will collapse on the army. They get on top of the Marines. SCVs are a little bit too far behind. And Liberator is targeted down. And you can see those cells just mow through the SCVs. GG gets called. herO completely shuts down the one base all in. And herO takes a 2-0 lead. Whew. GG. GG, well played. This reminds me of a game from the group stage. If you remember, GuMiho had a similar build against Classic, but the difference is GuMiho denied the scouts. If I remember correctly, no, he didn't deny it then either. Yeah, I remember Classic. He went for a hallucination across the map. GuMiho, he had a Cyclone to intercept. He got like 2 shots off, and the locker one's broken. Classic, he broke the loco and he got past, and Classic saw everything. Here, similar story in the sense that there was anti-air, there were Marines, there was a Cyclone, but GuMiho didn't deny the scout. herO saw everything. He saw nothing at the natural, and he saw the 1-1-1. He saw the racks, factory, and starport. That should not be done at that time, the starport specifically. So once he recognized, bam, charge, gateways, shield batteries. GG. GG, well played. So solid scouting, solid response out of herO. He shuts down the all-in, and suddenly herO is 1 game away from claiming the series. Remember, this is the best of 5, first to 3 wins, and I'm hoping for more. I'm hoping for a back and forth, but the pressure is on GuMiho. Here, the pants were not down. herO, he had them up. He was ready. And here we go, spawning in the bottom hand corner of Leylands, we have the blue Protoss player. We have the South Korean Protoss leading the series 2-0, 1 game away from claiming this series and advancing on to the grand finals. Representing Twisted Minds, it is herO. Oh, share my papi, share. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Seoul Esports. It is GuMiho. Oh boy, and already we've been using some specialized builds that I don't expect to see again, and they're not really working out. What I mean by that, game 1, 2-1-1. Game 2, 1 base all in. These are unique builds, and again, they're falling on their face. What else do we have in store for us? I mean, GuMiho has a lot available to him, but we should not be seeing another 1 base all in. That should not happen, especially on a map like Leylines. Rush distance by ground is longer on this map. Maybe on torches, right? Maybe on some of these other smaller maps we can try to pull that off, but here I don't see that working as well. And we'll see how GuMiho adjusts. Oh boy. Because so far he's having a hard time breaking the defenses here of herO. herO back at home, going for a gate expand. Okay, herO cutting corners. I don't know if you noticed, every game so far, herO's gone for a standard opener. What is the standard opener? Gate into Cybercore, followed by the Nexus. This is a Nexus first, before Cybercore. So a bit of a greedier build here by herO. This is going to be delaying his Adept, or it is going to be delaying his Sentry as well, his follow-up Scout. Thankfully for herO, economic opener out of GuMiho. Single gas, not double gas. So even though herO's cutting corners, this is a good read. Considering the 1 base all in failed last time, herO is assuming that GuMiho is playing economically, and he is. So GuMiho is going for a more economic build. CC is on the low ground. Factory is after the command center, after the CC. So herO should be able to settle into this quite nicely. And Stalker first as well. Ooh, not Adept or Sentry. Does open up Stalker first. Likewise, we'll see if GuMiho does mix things up here. Off of a standard opener, off of 1 gas opener, we do expect to see like just standard drop play here. Maybe Widowmine, Medevac into Widowmine drop, into tank production behind this, into the mid game. We'll see. GuMiho does head straight into said starport. Tech Lab is on the way. And here it does open Twilight Council. Now, my big concern for herO is, there we go. Okay, Stalker into a Sentry, hallucinations moving out. herO, he will soon confirm what's going on. Tech Lab is done, and we're going for the Cyclone first. Okay. Safe opener out of GuMiho. with this, GuMiho, he has no idea. Remember, GuMiho, no SCV scout, no Reaper scout. He has no idea what's going on across the map. For all he knows, there could be a Stargate. There could be a Stargate. There could be an Oracle coming his way. There could be a Phoenix coming his way. So the the Cyclone is just a good way to cover your bases. Blue Station Scout does confirm that this time there is a command center. So here he also confirms the add-on on the factory. Now, sometimes you can still go for the tech lab and then just make a Widow Mine, but does confirm Cyclone, not a Widow Mine drop. So here he is aware. Sometimes Terran players, they can fake out. Oh, let's go! We spoke about this at the start of the series, that GuMiho, he is one to mech it up against Protoss, and he's going for it. Let's go. Macville Accelerators is on the way. We should be seeing some additional factories behind this. Assuming this isn't a fake out, I believe herO, he's just saw the research. He knows. Just saw the research on that tech lab. GuMiho moves out. herO going back in. He's looking for the rest of the production. Macfield is still on the way. And that is a second Cyclone. Meanwhile, as hero's distracted, drop into the main. Stalkers are at the natural. His main base is somewhat exposed. And probes are being targeted. He gets one. Getting up to two. Oh, just the one. One probe goes down. Now again, if you know anything about GuMiho, he is one of the only Terran players out there that can actually play mech at the highest level play. I say one of, Ryung is the other. Like Ryung, he also does mixing mech against Protoss, and of course we saw Bjorn use mech against Zerg the other day as well. But against Protoss, like it's Ryung and GuMiho, and that's kind of it. Like there's not many others that really embrace this. I think we've seen Maru do this build once in the past, like maybe once, just to mix into a series. As we're going into Macville Accelerator, Cyclones, and Cloak Banshee. Now, Hallucination does confirm the research, so here he's aware of the Cloak Banshee. Observers are on the way for detection. And GuMiho is moving out. What does he have to work with? He has 3 Cyclones. That's going to be the backbone of his army. Here he has Blink, which is okay. There we go. More factories on the way. GuMiho, he is making it up. Oh. Nice control. GuMiho, he does save his Cyclone. Does bait out those shots. herO trying to keep up. Oh! Cyclones, they force out those blinks. Now, when it comes to dealing with mech, charge lots are ideal. Going into Charge or Archon Immortal is kind of what you want against a mech composition, but hero's not there yet. There's still a window in time early on where this mass Cyclone style can pull herO apart. Before charge. And before herO gets a proper economy. So GuMiho is going to spike early. Banshee towards the natural. Main army here in the center. We have a blue flame on the way. Again, committing into battle mech. Does commit in. GuMiho pulls away, still making more Cyclones. What's interesting is that GuMiho is actually still continuing Banshee production as well. He only has, okay, he's on 2 Banshees so far. Getting a 3rd. And Banshees, they can be devastating in this matchup. As they come in to support the main army. Lock-ons on the Stalkers. Once that GuMiho, calm down. Oh my god. Once again, baits out the Stalker shot, does save his Cyclone. The control. GuMiho. Okay. It's the second time that's happened. As charge is completing, herO is getting a 4th base. Now herO, he still has yet to reinforce his army with more zealots. That's still yet to occur. Storm, I'm a little bit less fond of Storm. Storm can maybe zone away some of the Hellions. It's not going to be as effective. But we'll see. GuMiho is rotating. He's still making more Banshees, by the way. And they're not harassing. They're a part of the main army. More Banshees are building up. They can be used to snipe key units like High Templar. Speaking of GuMiho, he does push forward. Storm is ready. Ooh, Storm does zone. Loco takes down the sentry. Banshees, they want the High Templar. And then they get one, they get two, they're gonna get all three. Yeah, High Templar, they get sniped instantly. Nice use of those Banshees. And Storm is a non-factor. Stalkers are coming from behind. There's not that many Cyclones, so down to 5. But so far they're thrown away. The Immortals are exposed. Where are those Zealots that we spoke about? He's been warping in Stalkers. Yeah, no charge ults, no buffer. These are going to be expensive trades for herO. Force something away. The base is going to go down. Likewise, no detection. Because of the Raven. True. Okay, there we go. Observers in the back line. Raven goes down. And herO, he is holding on. He does punish. Blinks on forward. Takes down the Banshees. Oh my god, he does target down those Cyclones. And herO holds. herO, he does hold on. He cleans this up. But at a cost. At a cost of his entire base. The base, the sentries, the High Templar, the Immortals. But herO holds. He does hold on. He does defend. It was a costly defense here for herO. Again, the charge ults, they were not ready. They're just now being warped in. So a very expensive defense for the Protoss. And GuMiho behind it on 3-base saturation. Now, we spoke about this previously. We spoke about this on Maganatha, where GuMiho, he does have the greater economy. herO, to catch up, he's double expanding and long distance mining. And we'll see if GuMiho can hold on. Now, the downside here, like, GuMiho's main army composition made a lot of sense, but now he lost all the Banshees, and he's not rebuilding. So this time, he has no way to snipe those High Templar. That felt like a key part of that previous fight. So he can no longer snipe. Instead, interesting, going to be reinforcing with Widow Mines, which does make sense against a more Zealot-heavy composition. So we have more Widow Mines being sprinkled in. GuMiho looking for the expansions. He's got that one Banshee. Okay. Does actually distract herO. Does force him back home. herO does get dragged back. And GuMiho is pushing towards the south side. Again, herO out of position. GuMiho moving in. He wants that base once again. Enemy Widow Mines. 7 mines are setting up. Storm going to be coming in. Decent Storm with the Hellbats. The rest do zone. Oh, the Mine Shots though. Oh my god. Mine Shots, they shut down the High Templar. They force in the Archon. GuMiho does pull away. From here he pulls away. Banshee does hit the mineral line, getting a handful of herOs, but is finally going to be cleaned up. herO, he defends, and he gets away with a double expand. So herO, he's now recovering economically. Now he's getting his 4th and now his 5th base up and running. Does chase down the Cyclones. Oh god, the punish though. Gee, oh my god. Oh, the punish is real. That's 5 Stalkers going down. And here we go. herO, he does commit. Once again, the Cyclones, they punish the Stalkers. And herO, he's being punished for not making any Zealots. Now, the problem here, typically against this kind of army, the purpose of the Zealots are to tank and just soak and to take these lock-ons. That's not happening. Expensive loss for herO. herO, he will lose everything. The Immortals are going down. The Stalkers are going down. And he tanks the lock-ons with his Stalkers, which is not what you want to do. As so many Stalkers fall. Storm does zone, but those are expensive losses for herO, losing every Immortal. And losing most of his Stalkers. 32 Stalkers have gone down. Jesus. The efficiency for 13 Cyclones. GuMiho going back into Banshee. 4th base is getting up and running. GuMiho, he's maintaining, or he's keeping up economically with herO, now getting his 4th base fully operational. And here he has to rebuild. Going for a Zealot run by. 2 Banshees, they can one-shot probes. They deny mining. They distract herO. GuMiho rotating over. herO does hit the 3rd. GuMiho's in position. Does defend. It's going to be 5 probe kills across the map. The Banshees, they make it back home. They even punish the Zealots. And hero's had a lot of rebuilding to do. He's back up to 3 immortals. He has 9 stalkers. Unfortunately, I mean, as you can see here, like if you lose that many stalkers early on, like it's so hard to build that back up as you have to warp in those zealots. So there's very little support behind the charge lots. Less than it should be. Yeah, and the Mass Cyclone, GuMiho is here to overwhelm. Once again, the lock-ons are not broken. Takes down the High Templar. Takes down the Archon. Mines are here to zone away the charge lots. Oh no! Okay, does split towards the end. Does split off. Water mines are going to reset. No detection. Hero being forced back once again. GuMiho going straight for the 3rd. Hero trying to come in from behind. Does attempt to. Takes some mind shots to the face. And mind shots are going off. Hero, he does not get the surround he was looking for. Cyclones, they punish so hard here. And once again, the blink. No, he does blink in. And lock-ons are brutal stalkers. They're going down. There's not enough charge lots. The flank was a little bit too late. And GuMiho, he's pushing through. Yeah, he punishes the army, takes down all the zealots, takes down all the immortals. Again, it was a messy fight for hero. And the base goes down. The base is going to fall. Again, this is the second time that hero's engagement has been a little bit disjointed. Moving in too early with the zealots, too late with the stalkers. The Cyclones, they punish those stalkers so hard. And here he plummets in supply. He does plummet. These are just some better fights here for GuMiho. And again, as you mentioned, like he was already keeping up economically. The efficiency for GuMiho has been insane. It's been very efficient. And GuMiho is gonna do it again, baby. Let's go. Again, no other Terran dares to play mech against Protoss. GuMiho's like, why? I don't understand these other Terran players. I don't get it. Aye. They just don't want to win, but as once again, there are barely any zealots here. So lock-ons, they can overwhelm. Once again, punishing the mineral line within range of those probes. And GuMiho is about to max out. So he's got 19 Cyclones. Oh god, he once again catches out all the Stalkers. Now they're on their own. Yeah, Stalkers, they go down. Oh my god, every single one of them falls. 0 Stalkers left. Aye. Yeah, no Stalkers remaining. Again, they cannot fight the Cyclones on their own. GG gets called, and GuMiho, he will fight back. He will put a point on the board. GG. Whew. GG, well played. GuMiho, he does put a point on the board here. Again, not going to be a one-sided series. Hero still has a lead, but GuMiho does fight back with what he's known for, with mech. Let's go. Again, when it came to the engagements, as we did point out, GuMiho, he was able to keep up economically with his 3rd base, with his 4th base, with sniping the 4th base of Hero as well. A lot of it came down to the fights. Hero, eventually he was working towards a more ideal composition, but there were more than a couple of times where Hero did move in too early with his zealots, too late with his stalkers, and GuMiho was able to deal with it like a portion at a time. Initially, Kai didn't deal with all the zealots, then deal with the stalkers as well. And there were a couple too many times where Hero was very cavalier with his blinks, maybe overconfident, and partially I would imagine just because he doesn't play against his style too often. Just to re-emphasize, when it comes to mech in this matchup, there's only 2 players that come to mind, GuMiho and Rion. Like there's some of, if not the only top Terran players that do this on a regular basis, so you don't get much practice against this. And Hero did misjudge a couple of fights, did misjudge a couple of situations where he did dive and did get too over eager. He got punished for that and he got shut down. GG, well played. With that, GuMiho, he does fight back, does put a point on the board. Now we are getting into game number 4. The pressure is still on GuMiho to bounce back and to force the ace match. Let's go, as we are loading into torches. So hello, Ganjama. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Torches, we have the blue Protoss player. We have the South Korean Protoss representing his new team, representing Twisted Minds, leading the series 2-1 in the best of 5. It is herO. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Seoul Esports. It is GuMiho. GuMiho lost too much army. Here's a head on. See, I don't think there was ever any moment where GuMiho took a bad fight. There were times where he was trading against herO, but honestly, it was always worth it. It was always worth it. GuMiho, he was losing minimal Cyclones. He was mainly trading out Hellions, which is ideal. Like Hellions, they're kind of built to die and built to be thrown away in a sense. They're just there to buffer. So GuMiho just had better fights overall. Better trades, better engagements. I mean, again, that's something that GuMiho has more experience with, but we'll see how our players do diverge coming into Torches. Torches is the rush map. Torches is like El Dorado, but even smaller, even more intense, as we do have this area in between the bases. So we have these gold minerals you can mine through, we have the triangular third base, we have the center gold bases as well, but that's it. Only 2 bases in between. On El Dorado, if you remember, it's 3, or I guess, yeah, 3 bases in between instead. So there are less bases, there's less room between main and main, so very short rush distance by air, likewise short rush distance by ground as well. Isn't just that, but we have the low ground third, which is also very exposed and very difficult to defend. We have the linear base, but there's also this area in between the natural and the third that can also be abused. We have the healing pad as well, and because of all these factors, because of all these different aspects, this map is often vetoed. It's often vetoed, but hey, we have a best of 5, less vetoes. We get to embrace some of these otherwise vetoed maps more often. Rax Expand. Okay, economic opener out of GuMiho does go for the Rax Expand. Meanwhile, standard opener out of herO. Okay, we into Cybercore. As for the first time this series, GuMiho makes a Reaper. Again, GuMiho has been skipping SCV Scouts and skipping Reaper Scouts the entire series. Not here, not on Torches, makes sense. But once again, for the most part, it's been GuMiho with some more quirky builds. Remember, Game 1, 2-on-1, Game 2, 1 base all in, Game 3, mech, Game 4, what haven't we seen yet? We did see Cloak Banshee as well. We haven't seen like we haven't seen the 2 base all in. True, that hasn't happened yet. And 2 base all-ins, I would say, are favorite on Torches, so this could be the lead up to that. It's still a little bit early to tell. Once again, the Tech Lab on the factory. Interesting. So Tech Lab on the factory. The building placement to me is really interesting just because there's no potential for any kind of add-on swaps. So we're going to be reactoring our Marines. And we'll see where this leads. herO, he does attempt to deny mining at the natural. Oh, let's go. The patrol. Meanwhile, speaking of just purely reacted marine production, I assume that was going to be a starport, but no, that's a second rack. So this looks like the same or a similar build that we saw. No, he gets in. Adept does get in. Adept does confirm the racks. He's aware. 2-on-1. This looks initially like a 2-on-1. Now we could throw down a third racks, and this could be just be a 2 base all in. And based on the fact that there's no add-on swap, yeah, this looks like a 2 base all in. If this was a 2-on-1, we'd see an add-on swap into Stim. No, okay. Add-on swap into. Never mind. It is an add-on swap. Okay, 2-on-1. It just caught me off guard to see him cancel the tank. It's like, okay, a bit of a fake out. herO, I mean, he did see the researching factory, but he also saw the second rack. So hero's being kind of given some misinformation here. He's aware of the racks, but from what he's seen, it looks a little bit more committed. Meanwhile, we can see it's going to be a 2-on-1, same build that we saw in Game 1. And this is going to hit sooner than previously. Why? Because of the rush distance by air. We did mention that from base to base, the rush distance by air is very short on this map. So it won't take long at all for the medevacs to get into the bases of herO. There's the add-on swap into medevac production. Medevacs are on the way. herO behind this, going into 3-gate blink into a robo gas on 2 bases. Very safe play out of herO. Very safe. Typically, we'd see Protoss players skip these gases, delay this robo, and expand instead. But the 3rd base is late for herO in favor of gases, in favor of the robo, in favor of the prism, in favor of extra warp ins. I say safe play. You could argue this is aggressive. I mean, either or, right? Like, we're fixated in prioritizing Stalker production. As the Observer gets sniped, Observer did see everything. herO, he's fully aware of the 2-1-1. And herO, he can either wait for the drop to move out or move in, but he does get spotted. He has been seen. Remember, there's no tanks. That's the downside of this build for GuMiho. Because of Stim, there is no tanks whatsoever. Boys are being pulled. Just pure Marine. Stim is done. Stim is done. The first tank has now arrived. Now getting position. That's going to be 7 SCV kills though, and denied mining time, getting up to 8 SCVs. Ooh. Leaks into the mineral line. Here comes a Stim for GuMiho. The boys are being pulled. Yeah, we got the solos coming in. And Stalkers are going down. These are expensive losses for herO. But he does blink away. And it's worth it. 19 SCVs. That is brutal damage. 19 SCVs going down. The economy for GuMiho is crippled. And now what was supposed to be a double medevac drop of 16 Marines down to only 8 Marines. Down to 1 medevac. He does boost across. At the same time, herO moves in. Oh. Here in an awkward position. Let's get out of here. Does pull away, delays a drop, and now herO expands. And yes, on the one hand, herO, his 3rd base is late. We did emphasize that previously. It is a late 3rd base, but this is worth it for herO. As he killed 19 SCVs, delayed economy, and he also contains and denies the build. The initial timing that GuMiho was going for, I mean, he doesn't hit it. He doesn't hit the timing. Is going to be zoned away. The 2-1-1 does nothing. Barely doesn't get the depot. Barely not. Behind this for the first time, herO not going into Storm, going into Colossus as a follow-up. Building up his Colossus count. And because of how much damage is being done, this looks like a 2-base all-in. Like, GuMiho is a little bit too far behind here. He's built up a high tank count. He's going for a reactor to Liberator behind this as well. GuMiho, the problem is he doesn't really have many boys to pull. But he's moving out. It's all or nothing for GuMiho. One way or another, either he kills herO or he dies trying. As he does move out. Yep, the boys are being pulled. There's not many to pull, but he's doing what he can. As there's no macroing out of this for GuMiho. Tanks are working forward. Again, time is on herO's side. All he has to do is slow this down. Buy more time for extra warp ins. Extra Colossus. Oh! Colossus takes a lot of hits. Drop into the natural. Colossus is able to keep up. Blink was just used. And GuMiho, not in a bad position, does Stim in. But he gets knocked down. Brutal force fields. Does force the pickup. Likewise, herO catching reinforcements. Yeah, coming in from behind the Colossus, they hold the rim. They punish the Marines. And herO just catching more reinforcements, more SCVs. He did get a tank. GuMiho force back. Yeah, and here he's just shutting this down. Completely shuts this down. Comes in for the surround, takes out the tanks, the Liberator. And there's what, 5 Marines remaining. GG gets called. herO, he overwhelms, and herO will take the series 3-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. A very intense back and forth, and I appreciate that GuMiho had a bunch of different builds, a bunch of different styles in every single game. Coming into the final game, he did go back into a 2-1-1, but the build makes sense on this map, specifically on torches. unfortunately for GuMiho, herO was also being aggressive, was also being assertive. Remember, he had delayed his third base in favor of extra gases, in favor of extra warp-ins, triple gateway or 3-gate blink out of herO with extra warp-ins. He was hyper aggressive, and he did punish GuMiho. We did mention the weakness of going for that 2-on-1 is your factory production and your tank production is delayed, so defensively he's weaker, and we saw he had to pull the boys. He lost 19 SCVs in that defense, and GuMiho was punished for his build, which is also why this build is very niche. It's very niche, it's not really relied upon too often, and herO, he of course scouted with his hallucination. He scouted the build, he saw the opener, he responded with his Blink Stalkers. So nice scouting, a nice response there by herO. He does punish GuMiho, and with that herO does advance on to said finals. And now we're getting ready for our next series for another PvT. Up next is going to be not GuMiho and herO, but instead Classic and Kior. Let's go.